Hi Rida, good afternoon. Nice to meet you, and thank you for having me. Yani, it's my honor and pleasure. Looking forward to the conversation. Okay, so my name is Yasmine Gaddis. I'm a certified child sleep consultant. So basically, I help sleep-deprived parents from the age of 0 to 5 to help them understand, first of all, and to let them have some good sleep, to help the child to sleep, and accordingly, the parents can sleep as well. I did my certification during COVID year through the Family Sleep Institute, and I have been doing this online. So I was lucky to work with the different people, different nationalities, the different countries. I'm mainly based between Egypt and UAE in Dubai. So physically, I keep coming and going between these two countries. I'm Egyptian. But again, as I mentioned, I work online, so I work with everyone globally thanks to COVID and technology. I can help someone in Australia and someone in the US. And this is part of what I like to do is like to meet different people, different backgrounds. It's always interesting. Yani the cultural part as well is very interesting, and when it comes to this topic. Okay, so I started the practice with COVID. Before COVID, I was in a totally different career. I studied economics and I worked 10 years between NGOs and UN organizations, corporates. So since graduation, I have been looking to find a career or something that is meaningful to me. So I didn't find it in the past 10 years, but when I get to know about the topic of sleep and child sleep in particular and how it impacts the development and the wellness of the child and the families, I did this shift. So I used to work 9 to 5 between marketing, communication, project management, and I did the shift during the COVID year to study and building everything from scratch. So I was in a different world. Okay, the shift is hard. It's hard and it's still hard. And sometimes, yani, alhamdulillah, I'm doing good and I have clients and I have consistent flow of people. But every now and then, sometimes it hits me. Shall I go back to the 9 to 5? It still comes to me every now and then, yani, and I know it's not the right thing for me anymore. But it continues to come. So it's hard. And I wouldn't say that it happened overnight. Yani, it's not that I woke up one day and I decided like I will leave this behind. It took me some years that I was, as we say in Arabic كده بفرك اللي هو I'm exploring. يعني I started yoga at this time and I was looking into yoga certification, but it didn't really connect with me. I was looking into teaching and I wanted to do something that is meaningful. So in the past, يعني between 20, when I was 20 to 30, this is when I started to look into what to do. So it wasn't an easy phase because I didn't know where to go. Uh, but because I started reading, getting to know about the different topics, getting to know myself more, getting to know about what I want. So it has been accumulative efforts of getting to know what I want and where to go. And then I met the right topic in the right time. I didn't leave 9 to 5. Yani, what really helped me that they let me go, and it actually happened on the same day when I was applying to be a sleep consultant. So I was sitting in a cafe, and in the morning I was applying, and then they called me for a meeting. Like, sorry, we need to let you go for cost reasons. I was in Dubai at this point. I was working 9 to 5, and they told me like, sorry, this is going to be like a customer face office, and I was more of a kitchen person, like doing marketing operations, all these things. And they told me either you go back to Egypt 9 to 5 or stay here. Yani, we will let you go. And I didn't want to go to 9 to 5 in Egypt at this point, so I decided like I'm gonna stay, look for another job until I work on this. And at this time, COVID happened, and looking for a job became very hard at this point. Like, people were leaving the job. I actually got a job afterwards by July, August, but at this point, I wasn't in the right mental state given everything that has happened in the past 6 months. So I started the job, and then I left the job, and I decided to focus 100% on this. So it wasn't an easy, straightforward journey, and it had its ups and downs. It has its emotional coaster. It requires a leap of faith. Yani, honestly, it's not easy. Yani, it's not easy to let go of the stability. I had a lot of family support from my family, so this helped me a lot, and I'm always grateful for it. So yeah, yani, I always encourage people to do the right move, or yani, to take the leap, but they need to make sure that it's relatively the right leap to what they know at this point, and to be prepared. Yani. And I had savings, I had emergency funds, I had the financial part covered, I had family support for the accommodation and stuff. So it's it's good to do the planning, not just to throw yourself out there. Yani, it's not fun like this. So yeah, yeah, I hope I answered the questions, but let me know if I want. You're welcome. So sleeping is like yani, the air we breathe. If we don't sleep, a lot of things yani, can go wrong. It's very important yani, for children. It's very important for their overall wellness when it comes to their development. All the growth hormones happen when they sleep in the right time. It's important for their emotional wellness as well. Yani, in many cases, we can go and see frustrated babies, angry babies, the tantrums. This could be a sign that we're not sleeping properly. So it takes care of their emotional wellness as well. It's important for their cognitive skills and learning skills. It helps with the immune system as well to stay on top of the immunity. So for children, it helps with a lot of aspects that has to do with their development, their emotional well-being, and same for us as adults. It's the same. We need sleep to renew all the cells that keep us with good memory, with good mood, with good appetite. So it's like the foundation. When you don't sleep, you really can't function. And I know a lot of people would be able to relate to this statement. It's as important as food, as important as water, it's as important as the air we breathe. It's very essential for the human being to have good sleep to be able to do life in the way that they want to do. There are plenty of reasons for this. It could be the quality of the sleep, and the quality of the sleep could be related to the stress you have in your day, the intake of the screens and the blue light. It impacts the release of the melatonin and impacts the quality of our sleep. It also has to do with your nutrition and caffeine and alcohol intake. All of this, it impacts how your quality of sleep would be. There could be other medical reasons. This is something to be consulted with a doctor for sure. But there are many reasons about the quality of sleep. It has to do also with understanding your biological hour. Like some people, they are night person people by default. It's what they call in the world of sleep the chronotype. Like every one of us, we fall in a certain chronotype that has to do with understanding what is your optimal time to go to sleep and to wake up. Like some people would sleep early and wake up early and they are fresh in the morning, other people no. So these chronotypes starts to shape at a later stage in life, and they impact the quality of sleep. If I'm a morning person and I sleep late at night, I will be cranky and grumpy in the next day and otherwise. Uh, so understanding your biological spot is important. Having like good amount of sleep as well. Yani, if your body needs 8 hours and you take 4 hours, it can impact this as well. So there are plenty of reasons that has to do with your hormones, your mental well-being as well. It's like a vice cycle about if you're not feeling okay, you might not be sleeping. If you're not sleeping, you will not be feeling okay. So we have to accommodate the mental well-being as well in the equation. Okay, so first of all, there are many reasons, so the checklist might not be sufficient for everyone. This is just a disclaimer, but we will focus on the key things that it's like the basic foundations that I also incorporate in my practice as a child sleep consultant. So it applies to all age groups. Number one is to sleep and wake up in a certain time. You can be reactive that yesterday I slept late, so tomorrow I would wake up late. You need to let your biological clock know that this is when I sleep, this is when I wake up. Don't sleep in late in the weekend and wake up late in the weekend because it's the weekend. If you do it every now and then, fine, it's not the end of the world. But if it continues to happen, it could impact your biological clock and biological rhythm. So it's important to have a starting and ending point for the day in a fixed period, fixed timings. The other thing is the first thing you should do in the morning is get exposed to the sun. The sun is the natural reset. This is something that I always encourage my clients for babies is if last night was bad, let's wake up early, put the baby in the balcony, let's have some fresh air and sun. It is a natural reset for the biological clock. It balances all the hormones that is responsible for sleep. On top of it is the melatonin, which is the sleep hormone that is released with the signal of the sun in the morning. So this is number two. Number three is to cut off screens before sleep. Blue light in general impacts the release of the melatonin. So at least by 1 hour, we need to cut off any source of blue light. Screens in particular is very strong. So this is very important when it comes to baby sleep in general. I notice the impact when we remove screens versus not, we don't have screens. Another thing we can do is, what I can see in the circle around is stress management, which is basically to manage our thoughts, to be aware of how stress is taking over my life and my thoughts. Because if you're not, yani, overthinking about everything, which is understandable why it's happening, but there are many ways to deal with this. So managing stress. Nutrition as well is very important. The quality of food that you eat, it impacts the quality of your sleep. Understanding the hormones, all the hormones that could be impacting sleep. If someone is going through menopause, if someone is having any hormones, irregular hormones, exactly. And under the umbrella of this, as we mentioned at the beginning, to be mindful about the caffeine intake, no caffeine after 3 p.m. Again, as well, same for alcohol. We need to be mindful about this because alcohol, for example, it's one of the things that it can give you feeling of, oh, I slept through the night yesterday, but it's not a quality sleep. So people who are struggling with sleep, it's recommended to manage their alcohol and caffeine intake. So this is thing. Another thing is the room environment, which is the space that we sleep. It is very tiny things, but it's really helpful. For example, the temperature. So when we sleep, our temperature goes down. And if I'm sleeping in a hot room, I will not be able to sleep. And this is something I see it a lot in my practice. Like people are very concerned about the babies because I mainly work with babies. So they are concerned that the baby would be cold, like they overheat the baby, and overheating does not help with sleep. I know it's coming out of love, but it does not help with sleep. Another thing is the darkness. The darker the room, the better it is for sleep because it helps the release of the melatonin. And in some cases, we really need this kind of pitch black kind of darkness. The need of darkness would vary from a person to another depending on their sensitivity to something like this, but darkness is very, very helpful. And the other thing is to eliminate the noises. Yani with babies, for example, we use what we call the white noise. It's this device that or something like waves in the background. And it still does the job as well for adults who might be sensitive to noises outside. They can still use it, or if they can manage the noise in their home, this is something they can work on. So these are the key foundations that I can see applying to all age groups that is helpful to get started with. There is another layer of doing like medical check the mental issues. All these things are usually things we take into consideration, but this is how can we get started. Okay, so the white noise for babies, like the newborns, we use it because it recreates this sound that they are used to in the womb. So in the early days, it has different role in that sense that we use the womb noise or the shh. There are different kind of noises. So for adults, for example, probably they will be using something like waves or water drops or rain, something that has water. The water is a relaxing component. So if someone is struggling with anxiety or stress, they can use it. It can help them to relax and to get into sleep. And another thing about the white noise, it's consistent. So sometimes it's all about managing the noises, the sudden noises. Like if you are sleeping and someone came into the house, this noise is a sudden noise, not consistent. The white noise is a noise, but it's consistent in the background. So it creates this disconnection from the outside noises. So it eliminates the possibility if this noise happen in the beginning or the end of the cycle, there is a possibility that you can wake up. But if the white noise is on, this is I see because I have many of my clients in Egypt. So Egypt is a noisy city in general. So when we use the white noise, it can help to create like a disconnection from the outside noise as well. Okay. So since we talked about the adults at the start, it's more or less the same. Well, let's focus on what is the priority for children. So again, having a structure in the sense of starting and ending the day in a certain window is important, and understanding the biological clock of children. So when the child is born, they don't have the concept of a sleep cycle or biological clock. This develops between week 12 and week 16. So this explains why the first 3 months could be a little bit of a messy phase, شوية, because there is no biological clock. The body doesn't know when to sleep, when to wake up. So sometimes it's a little bit random at the beginning. And then by week 12, week 16, they start to have this biological rhythm and they need to sleep in a certain time. So we need to be understanding of this. Usually the window of this is between 6 to 8 a.m. to 6 to 8 p.m. So this is when they need to sleep at night and to wake up in the morning. So having like a consistent schedule in that sense. Understanding as well their day sleep. There's a common myth in the Middle East in general that if you keep the baby up during the day, they will sleep better at night. But children, unlike us, they need to sleep regularly during the day. Yeah, for example, a 1 month old baby, they will need to sleep every hour. Like the wake window, the amount of time they can be sleeping, they can be awake, it's 1 hour 45 to 60 minutes. A 6 months old baby, they are only able to stay awake for 2.5 hours. So they need to nap regularly throughout the day. So understanding the sleeping needs during the day is important because their sleep pressure that builds up when we wake up is very small. So this is the second thing to keep in mind. Yeah. The same for babies. They need a routine as well. Like we need to let the brain know, like as if you're putting the brain on an autopilot, that this is sleep. So you need to establish some sort of certain actions to happen before sleep. Like we enter the room, we turn on the white noise, we shower, my mom feeds me or tell me a story or sing a song. So the more you do this, the more you are building a momentum in the brain about that sleep is coming next. It's as if it comes to the body naturally afterwards. So when you have the right schedule with the right routine, it makes the process of falling asleep easier. The room environment, it's the same concept as well, about the having a suitable room for sleep. So it applies the same. Looking into how they spend their day is very important, to get exposed to sun, to go outdoors, have good food. All these things as well, they impact, and these are all foundations we can start introducing from day one. Definitely, definitely. That's why it's always recommended to sleep in the dark rooms, um, to support the release of the melatonin. It's released in the darkness, and the exposure to the sun in the morning, it helps supports the release of the melatonin at night. It also supports the release of other hormones as well, like the serotonin as well. So it helps in better sleep at night. But yes, the darkness is very, very important. Yani, I have some cases, especially in UAE, like in the marina apartments, where all the house is like a big window. All what we needed to do is like to invest in a new blackout or a new curtain. Yeah, so yeah, shutters is really good for children. I know usually parents have this concern about if he sleeps in a very dark room, does this mean that I will not be able to let him sleep outside? So this is a valid concern to have, and sometimes the answer is yes. Some babies would have like different needs or specific needs. They are not this kind of flexible people to sleep anywhere, anytime. And it's important to understand this as well, like the personality and the temperament plays a role. It does not mean that this child has a problem. It just means that they have certain needs. And for example, me and you, we can be on a flight. I will sleep, you will not sleep. Does not mean that you have a problem. It's just like you are not the kind of person who would be sleeping in a flight. So yes, يعني when I have clients, because I know if someone came to me, it means like the situation is very bad. I always recommend and stress about the darkness, because it really helps, and it helps for the day sleep as well. يعني we offer naps in a dark room as well for the babies, to help them to sleep easily. Yes, it develops at a later stage. So for the window I work with 0 to 5, we always have this argument about maybe my child is a night owl like me. Yani, yes, they could be on the later side. Yani, your child might need to sleep like 8, 8:30, but not to the extent that they are ready to sleep at 1 a.m. So because the chronotype develops at a later stage, so we accommodate the biological need, but not to the extent that they would be sleeping like 6 a.m. and waking up at 6 p.m. Because they need this deep sleep that happens at the beginning of the night. Yani, throughout the night, the shape of the sleep cycle changes. And because the children are still developing and growing a lot, and deep sleep happens usually before 3 a.m. Yani many parents will come to me like, we sleep from 8 to 1, and then after 1 he wakes up every hour, because when we are closer to the morning time, the deep sleep becomes less part of the cycle, and this is when the wakes can start to go out. Usually, when children wake up at night, it could be for many different reasons. It could be development. It could be that they are not sleeping well during the day. They could be not exerting enough effort during the day. Yani, under tiredness is a thing. Yani, if this baby is yani, not doing anything during the day, maybe يعني لا, if they're not doing anything, يعني they're just staying around doing nothing, they're not physically active, they are not mentally interacting with the toys that is suitable for their age, they will not need the whole amount of sleep at night, if they're not eating properly. So there are different things we look at to try to understand why this child is waking up at night. For the younger age, it could be just development, like they can't sleep through the night yet, or they can't get long stretches yet. But as they grow older, between 6 to 9 months, we can start to see 6 to 8 hours. By 9 months, they eat 3 solid meals, so we see 11 to 12 hours, unless there is development or anything abnormal going on. Okay, so the quality of food, it impacts to in the sense of being full, not to just be snacking all day, to eat food that is healthy, good in healthy protein, healthy fats. If we eat a lot of sugar, it can be impacting our hormones and other things that could be impacting the ability to fall asleep easily and stay asleep with a good quality. So food is important for children and for adults. Same. For children, we want to make sure that they are eating يعني good healthy food, and at the same time food that is good in quality, not just like snacks or anything, just to make sure that they are full, because if they're not eating properly during the day, they will easily wake up at night hungry. So looking into the quality and the quantity of the food, it really impacts the quality of sleep at night. Okay. So for children, we will notice it mostly in their moods, in terms of their behavior, in terms of being actually struggling to sleep. Like a tired child will struggle to fall asleep. because when you don't get enough sleep, and this same for adults, your body starts to release cortisol. And cortisol is a stress hormone. It keeps us very alerted. And when this accumulates, you reach a point where sleep is a struggle. So with children, we see a lot of parents complaining, like it takes like 2 hours to go down. And once he goes down, he wakes up every hour because this body is not rested. So this is what we notice in terms of struggling to sleep. The mood is not great because I'm not sleeping, so all the hormones are out of balance. In many cases, I see that they're not eating properly as well because eating and hormones of sleep and appetite are connected to each other. So if you're not sleeping well, you will not have enough appetite. So these are the key things that I see on the ground with the cases I work with. For adults, probably will notice the same. Maybe we can notice it, for example, in the workspace, that you're not able to focus. You're not able to take proper decision. You can be very irritated. And this is the point where sometimes parents can reach out for help, like, I'm shouting at my child because we're not sleeping. So this is impacting the relation between the parent and the child. So you can be easily anxious, easily stressed, easily irritated, very agitated because all the hormones that are responsible to keep your well-being in place, they are out of place. So these are the key things that we notice: struggle to sleep, not able to function properly. We can notice disruption in the appetite. And for adults, the appetite can go the other way around, that people can be craving food because their body is needing to catch up on the imbalance of the hormones in different ways. So some people would have this habit of eating at night a lot when they can't sleep at night. 100%. 100%, yes. I think it will always be different from a person to another, and depends as well on the accumulation of the cortisol. Like one person might have one bad night of sleep and they would be super not in a great mood in the next day. Some people, it could take them accumulation of consecutive days to reach to this point. You can see it in the mood, like your ability to want to do things the way that you always want to do, your interest in doing things that you want, if your ability to work out. And if we're not working out, it can take us into another cycle of I'm not working out, so my body is struggling. And when we don't work out or move our bodies enough, it can take us into another cycle of other mental issues that we can face. Some people could be aggressive, some people could be irritated, like the tiniest thing that does not go their way, it can be impacting their irritation. Like يعني as we say in Arabic يعني خلقه ضيق اللي هو يعني I can't tolerate anything because I'm not sleeping properly. So يعني anything in the day I can't take in an easy way. And it could be definitely impacting the decision-making process. Yani if you are working in 9 to 5 and you need to take like key decisions, it could be yani working on the ability of the key cognitive parts in the brain if you're not sleeping properly. So definitely, if you are not able to make decisions that could move your life forward, it can be impacting your sense of achievement in life if you are unable to move forward. So yeah, yani if it's accumulative and it happens day on day, it could يعني, be impacting different aspects in life, whether your work, your relationships with the people around you. So yeah, yani, I think mothers are great creatures that they are able to deal with the sleep deprivation that would happen in the early days. And they're able to navigate a lot of things during the day as well with little sleep. So yani, that's why I have a special place in my heart to mothers and children, because it's hard and it's a lot of work as well to get into good shape of sleep. But yani, mothers are strong. Yeah. Okay, so there are four stages of sleep. The first one is when you are entering the sleep. So you might be half awake, half asleep. So you are about to enter and start the cycle. Then we go into the deep sleep. This is where all the gross hormones for children happen. For us, all the cleansing that happens while we are asleep is happening. And then we go into a little bit of a lighter stage, and then we enter to the final light stage of sleep. And there are technical names for every stage, the REM and NREM, but yeah, I don't want to go very technical. But it's basically light, deep, a little bit light, and more light. For children, the cycle is about 45 minutes, and for children, it's 90 minutes, plus or minus per se. Every person is different. So like we keep connecting cycles throughout the night. And the percentage of each stage would vary across the night. So that's why yani, each part of the night is important, because each part you get more of a certain stage that has different functions to do with our bodies, whether it's deep sleep, so it's more cleansing, whether it's the REM sleep, it could be more on the memory and the emotional regulation. So it depends on where we are in the night and what is the dominant stage. And every stage will have its role to take care of our well-being during the day. There are actually four chronotypes, not only two. Yani each chronotype, yani there's the one that there's from 8:30 to 4:30, and there's another one, I'm not sure, I can't remember correctly if I'm not sure. And there's another one like 10:30, 11 up to 7, 8, and there's another one like 2 to 3. So there are four chronotypes. It's mostly genetics, yani mostly genetics, and another part is like the nature of the person, and big part of it could be genetics and the environment in the early childhood as well. Okay. So for me at the moment, yani, what I do is I mainly focus on children from 0 to 5. I don't work with adults. Yeah, so I mainly work with children, and for children, it's more about finding their sweet spot in the biological window that a lot of research has proved it's best for them. It's what yani, proved across different studies, different ages, that this is the window for children to have the best quality of sleep. This is the best time when the body is ready to sleep. Yani they did a lot of research and they found, like, for example, in this window, the body temperature, core body temperature goes down. So this is an indicator that the body is ready to go to sleep. So when it comes to sleep, we don't really yani, interact with the chronotype topic. It's more for adults that I don't tackle at the moment. But for children, we try to find the sweet spot for this child in this window. Like some children, when you put them to sleep at 6:30, super, they would wake up in the next day at 6:30, and they would have a great night's sleep. Another child, for example, I currently have a child when his biological clock is like 7:45, 8. When we put him to sleep earlier or later, he doesn't really have a good night's sleep. So we try to look into this. It's all about documenting and to start to see like a relation. Like when they sleep at this point, the nights look like this. When they sleep at this point, the night look like this. So it's all about, we always, when I work with families, I work on them one-on-one with daily support, and we have a sleep log, like an Excel sheet, where we document everything that is happening, just to get to know a sense of the patterns of the child. I would advise to take care of your sleep and your child's sleep. It's very important. We live in a very hard and stressful time already. So if we're doing this with less sleep or no sleep, it will be much harder. And you can always seek help. Yani, there are plenty of sleep consultants for adults, for babies, for children. Yani, help is out there if you are really willingly to do the work. Sometimes I know it's hard to do the work, especially with working parents, for example. It's very hard to manage ideal sleep schedules with the parents going late home. Yani, it's not easy in some cases. I know that.